The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning to you. It is 5 a.m. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher. All eyes in Congress will be on Ukraine's president this morning.
President Volodymyr Zelenskyy will address lawmakers in a virtual speech as the war in his country rages on. NBC's Bree Jackson is in Washington this morning. Bree?
Good morning, Alex, Maddie. President Zelenskyy is expected to again plead for a no-fly zone and military jets, something the Biden administration has so far rejected, saying those moves could cause World War III. At least one person died after a series of Russian airstrikes destroyed this apartment building in Kyiv, a sad reminder of the growing number of civilian casualties. Among those killed since the war started, an American journalist and two members of a Fox News crew. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy describing the destruction and heartbreak to Canadian lawmakers, again receiving a standing ovation.
Close the airspace. Please stop the bombing. How many more cruise missiles have to fall on our cities?
Zelenskyy is expected to repeat that call during his virtual address to Congress today.
Well, my guess is that everything he's going to request is something we ought to be doing.
The administration's been pretty unequivocal in saying no to a no-fly zone, but there are plenty of tools we can give Ukraine.
The Biden administration is considering providing Ukraine with killer drones, equipped with missiles that could target Russian tanks and artillery from miles away. President Biden already signing off on nearly $14 billion in humanitarian and military aid.
We're going to be able to quickly ramp up our response and help alleviate the suffering that Putin's war is causing.
As the crisis worsens, roughly 3 million Ukrainians have fled their homeland. I'm fleeing for the sake of my children, she tells us. President Biden will travel to Brussels for a NATO meeting next week, world leaders uniting in their opposition to Russian aggression. After President Zelenskyy's virtual speech today, President Biden will deliver remarks. He's expected to announce nearly $1 billion in military aid for Ukraine. In Washington, I'm Bree Jackson for 17 News.
And we will bring you President Zelenskyy's remarks to Congress when it happens in about an hour from now.
Your time now is 5:05. Governor Gavin Newsom is taking action to help the escalating humanitarian crisis caused by Russia's war on Ukraine. He joined a group in Solano County yesterday, packing up emergency relief supplies that are headed overseas. He also signed an executive order directing state agencies and departments to ensure their contractors are complying with economic sanctions imposed in response to Russia's attack on Ukraine.
Now an update on efforts by Bakersfield-based CityServe International to get much-needed food to the thousands of Ukrainian refugees streaming over the border into Poland every day. A UPS cargo jet delivered the food, 1 million meals, to Frankfurt, Germany on Sunday. And on Monday, the first truckload arrived at a warehouse in Warsaw, Poland. The bishop for Pentecostal churches partnering with CityServe sent us this update yesterday.
My name is Bishop Marek Kamiński, and I am a leader of the Pentecostal movement in Poland. I have a wonderful news for you. Take a look. This is a load of goods from America, 1 million meals, and we are going to ship it to Ukraine to feed the people that were hit with the war. So big thank you to CityServe. Friends, you are awesome. You're absolutely awesome, and we would like to thank you for this wonderful help. We love you, we pray for you, we are happy with the cooperation, so God bless you and see you in the future.
And 17's Jim Scott spoke with Carl Hargerstam, Executive Director of CityServe International, about transporting 1 million meals from the U.S. to Ukrainian refugees in Poland.
Thanks to UPS, of course, professionals, but first we were going to ship it straight to Warsaw. It ended up going from Atlanta to Frankfurt, Germany by truck into Warsaw. Custom regulations getting into Europe, but it landed in Warsaw, it's being repackaged and is moving into Ukraine as we speak.
and not to diminish in any way the effort made by CityServe to get this food to Ukrainian refugees in Poland. But considering the scope of this crisis, is this not like the proverbial drop in the bucket?
I mean, I think the crisis, as we know, it's 3 million, eclipsing 3 million. I think that has left. But the people in Ukraine, this is where the crisis is beginning. The supply chain is seized. Now they're several weeks into war. You have no food. People are in bunkers. That's where people are hurting. And I think where you're seeing the beginning is going to be a big wave coming here.
And CityServe tells 17 News they are anticipating another meal run to Poland. If you would like to contribute, you can donate to the cause at cityserve.us.
Meantime, our local law enforcement are stepping up to provide supplies for those fighting in Ukraine. The Kern County Sheriff's Office says it will be donating 68 decommissioned bulletproof vests to the people of Ukraine. The announcement was made yesterday by Supervisor Mike Maggard during the Board of Supervisors meeting.
The difficulty we're encountering is how to get them there. Do we put them in a shipping container but then you don't know where they're going to be when they get unloaded from the container. A number of inquiries are being made at the same time.
Bakersfield Police Department was also contacted to donate their decommissioned vests, but has not yet made any announcements.
Now to your 17 Crime Watch this morning, and new information on Monday night's shooting outside Valley Plaza Mall. Police believe it was the result of a drug deal gone wrong. The shooting happened just before 7:30 p.m. as customers were headed home and employees prepared to shut the stores. Investigators say 18-year-old Dejan Swisher and a 17-year-old boy tried to rob a 15-year-old boy and another person. That person pulled out a gun and began shooting, hitting all three teens. Police say the teens are expected to survive. Swisher was arrested for robbery and child endangerment. He's due in court later today. Meantime, the shooter is still on the run.
Your time now is 5:09, and this is not the first time a violent incident has happened in or around Valley Plaza Mall. 17's Christian Galeno has a look at other instances of violence and what's being done to protect shoppers.
December 1993, 19-year-old Diana Contreras was Christmas shopping for her mother. When leaving the mall, Contreras was forced into a car by then 23-year-old Mary Schroeder and her boyfriend, 23-year-old Charles Roundtree. Contreras was forced to withdraw money from several ATMs before being shot to death by Roundtree. December 2005. A feud between 19-year-old DeAndre Marzette, an alleged member of the West Side Crips, and Andre Ball Jr., a member of the East Side Crips, led to the death of Marzette inside of the mall.
That shooting was very, surprising to our city.
Less than 2 months later, on February 18, 2006, Kenneth Dwayne Moses was stabbed 6 times in the parking lot near the Red Robin restaurant.
In a place where a lot of people are, so stuff like that won't happen. But it did.
More than a decade later, on November 14, 2017, 4 burglars smashed windows and caused havoc inside of Kevin Jewelers. A year later, during the 2018 Black Friday rush, 2 armed robberies took place just hours apart from each other. Then in 2019, a fight inside of the mall ends in gunfire, hitting 2 people.
We're aware of what's happening around the area, sad but true. We got a smash and grab. It just happened, not too long ago.
In 2021, mall jewelers were hit yet again. In August, Don Roberto Jewelers fell victim to a burglar attempting to smash the glass inside the business. And just 3 months ago, Kevin Jewelers again targeted by smash and grab burglars. Monday night's shooting is the most recent incident to happen around the mall. A spokesperson for Valley Plaza told 17 News that they are angry at the isolated incident, but that there is no immediate threat to shoppers or employees, and that a robust security plan is in place to deter crime.
Look out for each other. If they see something, speak up. Because I believe Valley Plaza is doing everything they can to security. But, like I said, things happen.
For 17 News, I'm Christian Galeno.
That was Manny Carrizales with Stay Focused Ministries. He says there is no specific gang that claims the area around Valley Plaza, but the issue will be discussed at their next Safer Streets Partnership meeting. 17 Core Watch now. A man arrested for murder in connection with an alleged street racing crash in November has pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of second-degree murder and 4 other felony charges. Police say 30-year-old Nathan Valencia drove a car racing a red Honda Civic shortly after midnight on November 19th on Stockdale Highway. The investigation shows the Civic sideswiped another vehicle and crashed west of Jenkins Road, killing passenger Carmen Romero Vidal. Another person in the Civic later died. That person's name has not been immediately released. A third person in the Civic survived. Valencia is due back in court next month.
A former Bakersfield teacher accused of sending inappropriate messages and videos to 2 former students has accepted a plea deal. Kai Pewitt pleaded no contest yesterday to a felony count of exhibiting harmful matter to a minor. In exchange, 7 other felony charges were dropped. Pewitt is a former employee from Luis Sandrini Elementary School. He was arrested last April in San Diego County, where he was employed at another elementary school. Pewitt is due back in court next month for sentencing. In your 17 follow-up file this morning, the Kern County Coroner's Office has now identified partial skeletal remains found in the Mojave Desert in October 2021. The remains belong to 37-year-old Travis Michael Moore, who originally went missing September 2021 near the area where his remains were found on Claymine Road north of Edwards Air Force Base. Through DNA testing, the Sheriff's Office identified the remains as Moore's March 10th. The cause of death has not been released.
And now to the coronavirus. California lawmakers yesterday rejected an attempt to end Governor Gavin Newsom's COVID-19 related state of emergency. This was the first time state lawmakers could publicly debate whether to keep the emergency in place. On a party line vote, members of the Committee on Governmental Organization rejected ending the state of emergency 4-8. Some Democrats, including Senator Ben Allen, opted out of voting with questions about how exactly this could affect federal funding in response to future surges.
I do think that it's important that this be ended at some point. I would love to get some further clarification information from experts on this.
The committee chairman agreed to grant the resolution reconsideration, meaning it can be brought back for another vote later this year.
And Kern Public Health Director Bryn Kerrigan provided an optimistic update to the Board of Supervisors yesterday on how our community is faring through the pandemic and what we can expect as things get back to normal.
At my last report to your board, CDC had classified Kern County as high level. On March 10th, Kern's community level was reduced to medium. The state's modeling software suggests that Kern's cases and hospitalizations will continually slowly decrease for the foreseeable future, with no currently predicted future surges.
And let's take a look at the latest numbers of coronavirus here in Kern County. Public Health announced 188 new positive cases of COVID-19 yesterday, with 8 new deaths reported in our county. State data shows 54 people are in the hospital with coronavirus and 12 more are in the ICU.
The Biden administration has announced it will provide more than $2 billion to help cover funeral costs for more than 300,000 families of people who died from COVID-19. The COVID-19 Funeral Assistance Program provides up to $9,000 per funeral and covers COVID-19 related deaths that have occurred since January 20th, 2020. The average amount awarded per death is $6,500. FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell says the program has helped provide people with, quote, critical financial relief during a time of such unexpected, unimaginable, and widespread loss.
Now to Kern's sober reality, as the California Highway Patrol is warning the public it will be out in force this St. Patrick's Day weekend. CHP says last year they made 211 DUI arrests on St. Patrick's Day. Statewide, 3 people were killed in DUI-related crashes and 76 people were hurt on that day.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.